Hello everyone. In this video I am going to tell Bhagavad Gita sloka number 13.3. In the previous sloka, Arjuna told Lord Krishna that he wished to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge. And Lord Krishna replied that this body is called the field, and that one who knows this body is the knower of the field. Let us begin with this shloka. क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोः ज्ञानं यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम. The meaning: Kshetrajnam, the knower of the field. Cha, also. Api, certainly. Mam, me. Vidhi, no. Sarva, all. Kshetreshu, in bodily fields. Bharata, O son of Bharata. Kshetra, the field of activities, the body. Kshetrajnayoho, and the knower of the field. Jnanam, knowledge of. Yat, that which. Tat, that. Jnanam, knowledge. Matam, opinion. Mama, my. The whole meaning is, O son of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. Srila Prabhupada explains, while discussing the subject of the body and the knower of the body, the soul and the super soul, we shall find three different topics of study: the Lord, the living entity, and matter. In every field of activities, in every body, there are two souls, the individual soul and the super soul. Because the super soul is the plenary portion of the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna says, I am also the knower, but I am not the individual knower of the body. I am the super knower. I am present in every body as Paramatma or super soul. One who studies the subject matter of the field of activity and the knower of the field very minutely in terms of this Bhagavad Gita can attain to knowledge. The Lord says, I am the knower of the field of activities in every individual body. The individual may be the knower of his own body, but he is not in knowledge of other bodies. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present as the Super Soul in all bodies, knows everything about all bodies. He knows all the different bodies of all the various species of life. A citizen may know everything about his patch of land, but the king knows not only his palace but all the properties possessed by the individual citizens. Similarly, one may be the proprietor of the body individually, but the Supreme Lord is the proprietor of all bodies. The king is the original proprietor of the kingdom, and the citizen is the secondary proprietor. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the supreme proprietor of all bodies. The body consists of the senses, and the Supreme Lord is Rishikesha, which means the controller of the senses. He is the original controller of the senses, just as the king is the original controller of all the activities of the state. The citizens are secondary controllers. The Lord says, I am also the knower. This means that he is the super knower. The individual soul knows only his particular body. In the Vedic literature, it is stated as follows: Kshetrani hi sharirani bijam chapi shubhe tani vetti sa yogatma tatah kshetrajna uchyate. This body is called the Kshetra, and within it dwells the owner of the body and the Supreme Lord, who knows both the body and the owner of the body. Therefore, he is called the knower of all fields. The distinction between the field of activities, the knower of activities, and the supreme knower of activities is described as follows. Perfect knowledge of the constitution of the body, the constitution of the individual soul, and the constitution of the super soul is known in terms of Vedic literature as Jnana. That is the opinion of Krishna. To understand both the soul and the super soul as one yet distinct is knowledge. One who does not understand the field of activity and the knower of activity is not in perfect knowledge. One has to understand the position of Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer of nature, and Ishvara, the knower who dominates or controls nature and the individual soul. One should not confuse the three in their different capacities. One should not confuse the painting, the painter, the painting, and the easel. This material world, which is the field of activities, is nature, and the enjoyer of nature is the living entity, and above them both is the supreme controller, the personality of Godhead. It is stated in the Vedic literature in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 1.12, Bhokta Bhogyam Preritaram Chamatva Sarvam Proktam Trividam Brahmametat. There are three Brahman conceptions. Prakriti is Brahman as the field of activities. The Jiva, individual soul, is also Brahman and is trying to control material nature. And the controller of both of them is also Brahman, but he is the factual controller. In this chapter, it will also be explained that out of the two knowers, one is fallible and the other is infallible. One is superior and the other is subordinate. One who understands the two knowers of the field to be one and the same contradicts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who states here very clearly, I am also the knower of the field of activity. One who misunderstands the rope to be a serpent is not in knowledge. There are different kinds of bodies and there are different kinds of owners of the body, because each individual soul has his individual capacity for lording over material nature. There are different bodies, but the Supreme is also present in them as the controller. The word Cha is significant, for it indicates the total number of bodies. That is the opinion of Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushanam. Krishna is the super soul present in each and every body apart from the individual soul. And Krishna explicitly says here that real knowledge is to know that the super soul is the controller of both and the field of activities and the finite enjoyer. Thank you for watching, and I will tell the next sloka in the next video.